Hello and welcome to Pokemon Spotlight for Galarian Zapdos or Tailwind Offense. This team was created by me for a tournament called Winter Warriors that you guys saw last weekend. It is a pretty good team in my opinion. I think I just did really poorly in the tournament. And I do plan on using it in Players Cup 3, as you guys will have seen on Monday. The first Pokemon on this team is the Tailwind Setter, Tornadus, with 252 attack, or 252 special attack, 252 speed with a timid nature. Highlighted stats are it's a 111 speed and 125 special attack. Makes it a very, very fast and very, very good Tailwind Setter with Prankster. Outspeeds a lot of other Prankster mons, which means I will get Tailwind up before them kind of thing. Or I will be able to taunt them before they can use their Prankster priority. We have Icy Wind as additional speed control just in case they do double taunt us, and we do not get Tailwind up. Foul Play to hit things like Metagross and Dragapult. Taunt is really, really handy for, like I said, other Tailwind Setters as well as Anti-Trick Room. The EVs on this are pretty standard. This is just the ultimate speed control mon. The reason that we are Mental Herb instead of Focus Sash is because Taunt was causing a lot of problems for us in testing, so I dropped the Focus Sash for the Mental Herb. The next Pokemon we have on our team is Galarian Zapdos, the staple Pokemon. It is criminally underrated. It is really, really fast, really, really powerful when it's under Tailwind. Airstream and Knuckle hit like a truck because of Stab, and Blaze Kick really helps with the Metagross matchup. Does really well against Colossal as well. If we can get it to +1 speed under Tailwind, I believe we outspeed it. Even if we don't, I know we do beat it in a 1v1 because it'll most likely go for Vocalith into the Galarian Zapdos, and that won't KO our Zapdos at when it's at +2. Flare, I believe, does a little bit more damage, but I don't believe it should KO us. As you can tell, Colossal causes a lot of problems for this team, so it is kind of the primary focus of what I'm going to be talking about, of how it takes hits. It does really well against a lot of the other meta, deals with Urshifu exceptionally well. Under Max, it deals with like stuff like Tapu Fini, and it does really well because Landorus and Incineroar are both really, really popular with this Defiant ability. Next, we have Rillaboom. Pretty popular Pokemon, so it's not really that hard to cover. It's EV to live an Overheat from Rotom Heat if it's at full health, and has enough attack to hit KO most Tapu Finis. 252 HP, 36 attack, 140 defense, 76 special defense with a relaxed nature. The moves are Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Wood Hammer, U-turn with the Assault Vest. Forgot to mention on Galarian Zapdos, we have 108 HP, 252 attack, 148 speed, and Adamant. That outspeeds Regieleki. Timid, max speed Regieleki is outsped by 148 speed, Adamant under Tailwind. We have Brave Bird, Blaze Kick, Thunderous Kick, Detect, and we are holding the life. The fourth Pokemon on the team is Metagross. No, wait, not Metagross. Heatran. Heatran really, really helps with Metagross. It was a later addition to the team after testing proved that Metagross caused a ton of problems. I looked through, figured out which fire type I wanted to use, and Heatran seemed like a pretty good Pokemon because fitting with the theme of Galarian Zapdos being criminally underrated, I think Heatran has a ton of potential to be an absurd Pokemon. And with the power that it provides with Heat Wave, Solar Beam, Earth Power, and Protect while holding a Charcoal is really, really good because it has natural bulk, so it can live a lot of hits to begin with, while still being able to do massive damage, which is 130 special attack stat. We have 148 HP, 252 special attack, 108 speed, which I believe outspeeds max speed Metagross, or max speed Urshifu under Tailwind. Can also deal with Colossal if Trick Room is up somehow. I know I did run into it at some point in testing. Really obliterates Metagross and helps with a lot of the meta just because of its natural bulk. The next Pokemon we have on the team is this Dragapult. This Dragapult is the exact same Dragapult that Wolfie Glick used on his Players' Cup 2 team. It is purely defensive. We drop Surf for Reflect because we do not need Surf. We're holding the Light Clay. We have 236 HP, 4 attack, 28 defense, 76 special defense, 164 speed with a Jolly Nature. Dragapult's a pretty decent support Pokemon. I'm not a big fan of Dragapult. As you will have seen in the testing for the PC2 or Players' Cup 3 team, I dropped it. I'm no longer have Dragapult on this team. Dragon Ghost type is really good. Clear Body is decent for just dealing maximum damage with stuff like Breaking Swipe, as well as not being able to get its speed lowered. 120 attack and 142 speed really help with setting up a fast Reflect and a fast Light Screen. Unfortunately, this one can be hit by a Prankster Taunt, and we will effectively become useless, especially if it's by a Whimsicott. We lose the 1v1 against Whimsicott because if we get taunted, because we cannot Breaking Swipe it. The last Pokemon that we have on the team is Urshifu Rapid Strike, and this is the most niche Urshifu you will ever see. Fighting Water-type Urshifu, obviously because of the Rapid Strike form, obviously has Unseen Fist, which goes through Protect with any of its contact moves. Its highlighted stats are 130 attack. All of its other stats are kinda dog shit. Zippy Spread is 228 HP, 252 attack, 28 speed with an Adamant Nature, Surging Strikes, U-Turn, Close Combat, and Poison Jab. This EV spread with Choice Scarf lets us have the most survivability while outspeeding Colossal while we're under Tailwind. This is the last Pokemon we put on the team after getting our ass kicked by Colossal like 4 times in a row in testing. So I was like, what can I use to beat it? Urshifu Rapid Strike is the Urshifu that I have. I will use that. Once again, this is another Pokemon that we dropped on the Players' Cup 3 version of this team. But it is still a very strong Pokemon to use, and I think can be pretty obnoxious to deal with depending on how things play out for it. So on to the pros. This team is incredibly hyper offensive, has really good niche options. Galarian Zapdos and Heatran surprise people with how good they are. We have really good terrain control because our Rillaboom is slow. I don't know if I covered that, but our Rillaboom has zero speed EVs and is a relaxed nature. So it's a really slow Rillaboom, which means something like Tapu Fini if it's running any speed, or it's not a minus speed nature. We underspeed it, which means we get terrain up. At underspeed steps like Tapu Koko, Tapu Bulu, doesn't matter. So underspeeds some Indeedis, which is important. But it is still a really strong Pokemon to fire off Grassy Glides into things like Tapu Fini, picking up KOs that we miss on stuff like Glastier, Dusclops, any bulky Pokemon like that we would leave with low amount of health. We can Grassy Glide it and pick up that KO. Dragapult is really good. Is decent support paired with Tornadus. We don't really have a ton of like attack control outside of Reflect and Will-O-Wisp. We have a ton of speed control with stuff like Tailwind and Icy Wind from Tornadus. But we have minimal like defensive options outside of just leading screens Dragapult, which is really hard to do with this team because Dragapult, because you kind of want to go really offensive right off the bat with something like Torn, Galarian Zapdos lead. The cons of the team is incredibly weak to Trick Room if Torn can't taunt the Trick Room setter or they have Mental Herb. We are incredibly weak to Colossal if Urshifu can't handle it or we don't get enough setup with Zapdos. We are weak to other speed control because we are not running like max speed Pokemon to go with Tailwind. We are running enough because Tailwind isn't super popular right now. And we function suboptimally without Trick Room. We can function with it thanks to boosting from Zapdos' Airstream, but we can't really function under it because of because we lack full speed stats. And I stand by that decision just because we can get Tailwind up pretty much guaranteed every time. There's some team comps that it's a little bit harder to deal with. And I think with the improvements that we're making with the second version of the team, which is Players' Cup 3 version, I think it gets a lot better. There will not be a Players Cup 3 version of this Pokemon Spotlight. I want to use this one because this is the one that I used in a tournament. I still, like I said at the beginning, I stand by that this team is still good. I think it can be used effectively in a really nice way. It just underperformed in a tournament because I wasn't fully prepared for what I was fighting. Something that I didn't mention in pros, this team does really, really well against stuff like Regigigas Weezing because it just completely shuts it down because we can taunt the Weezing the turn after it protects. We set up our Tailwind, we go for 2 Thunderous Kicks or 2 Max Knuckles into Regigigas, and it's dead, and then we have to deal with the rest of the team, which has lacking abilities, and we keep the Weezing on the field because we don't really need our abilities after that. So yeah, that is this team. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys in February with another Pokemon Spotlight.